Family, let me take this time and opportunity once again to welcome you to our program, Health Talk. Today we are meeting when our country and the numbers of people that are infected with the virus are skyrocketing. I'm sure you would have checked the news and to check where South Africa is. With these numbers going up, what it means is that most of us, or many of us, will be affected and infected. And with this in mind, I thought it would be wise and advisable for us today to dedicate a bit of time to talk about resilience. Resilience, as many of you would know, is an ability to bounce back. And to bounce back from what? To bounce back from stressful situations, situations that are life-threatening, situations that compromise us mentally and health-wise. And to give just an examples of what could be situations that will threaten our lives, threaten our normal lives, that we will need to be resilient to. COVID-19 is the perfect example. We know that it disrupts families, it disrupts our lives as we know them, it disrupts everything. Now we're talking about new normal. New normal meaning most of us will have to go to bed hungry because we have lost our jobs. Most of us, we have companies that are closing down because of all the challenges that the pandemic is bringing to our attention. Therefore, talking about resilience becomes very important because this is one's ability to bounce back after a stressful event. What is the resilience? Resilience, it will be defined, psychologically as an ability for one to strive or one to bounce back after a stressful condition. And in our normal lives, when we talk resilience, it's, we say one is resilient. If, say, for instance, one was in a business which, a business will collapse and, and no hope, but this person somehow is able to resurrect the business and able to, bring the business to functionality or to operations and be able to carry on with life. But then, because we are talking health, when we're talking about, resilience in line with what we are talking about in Health Talk, we're talking about resilience as one's ability to bounce back after you have been crushed, when your hope has been crushed. If, your only surviving parent has passed on, when your child has passed on, when your business has collapsed, when everything that your hope is gone, and the question is, how do you show some kind of resilience in that kind of situation? One thing that I would want to do today is to give some tips that we could use as people to try and address or to try and bounce back. And the tips that I'm going to be sharing today are not scientific, are not complicated. It's not something that you have to go out there to go and buy. It's not an item that you can buy that you have to source from a specialist or something. For instance, the tip number one that I'm going to talk to you about is Number one is you need to talk to someone. You know, when you are confronted with what I've just outlined, and I'm saying, you know, a solution for you will be to talk to someone, you might think, I don't understand what you're going through. But guess what? When you are moving around and you meet people, you know, God is not a waster, does not waste resources. You know, that one person that you are meeting and you decide to talk to, guess what? This could be the person that, you know, you need to enable you to bounce back in your business. This could be the person that when you start sharing the hardships that you are going through, you know, the collapse of a business, this, it could be this person have been through the same. And by sharing, you know, by talking to this person can say, you know what we are going through is not new. Actually, what you're going through is what I went through. And this is how, you know, I overcame. This is how, you know, I found myself, you know. So you see that talking to someone could be your way to come up. And, you know, if say, for instance, you meet someone and you decide not to share your challenge and you keep it to yourself, what it means is this person who has a potential to your challenge, potential in terms of giving you a solution, potential in terms of saying, I was in the same thing, this is what I've done, you know, would pass by. And guess what? Once this person that you did not share your challenge with pass, and you might not be able to find that person again and to share your experience and find the solution that you want. Other people that we often do not use as resources when we were confronted with, you know, situations, circumstances, it's parents. Most of us who are, say, educated, who have been to school, when we're confronted with situations, we're thinking, I can't share this with my parents. My parents, they haven't been to school. There's nothing that they can assist me with. They are knowledgeable in terms of what, you know, I'm confronted with at the moment. That's a resource that we are neglecting. You might find that, you know, there's things that, you know, parents know that we think they do not know. There are things that parents would want to assist us with. And sometimes they even observe that we are challenged. And they do not want to invade our privacy. They don't want to, you know, get their noses where they do not belong. But by reaching out and, you know, showing our vulnerability to them to say, I'm confronted with this. My business is crumbling down. This has happened. This, you know, you find that a parent could be resourceful, could be the person that could help you to bounce back. So this is a resource that is easily available. A parent could be a phone call away. And sometimes we suffer in silence. And sometimes our parents don't even know that we're dealing with this kind of situations. For instance, in issues relating to relationships, you know, your relationship is shaking, it's not doing well, and you want to portray to your family, to your parents, that everything is going well, and you know, so you do not tap into a resource that could be helpful. The other thing that, you know, another tip that sometimes we could use that could help us to bounce back when we are down, it's to find ourselves in a hassle-free environment. By a hassle-free environment, we mean that if we're staying in a house, try and organize your house. If you are staying in a flat, try and organize your flat. If it's just a room, try and organize your room. There's this saying, it's not a saying, I'm not sure what it is, that cleanliness is next to godliness. If you are down, and you also find yourself in an environment which is not organized, it's scattered, clothes all around, furniture not well arranged, the room is not cleaned, it's highly unlikely that if you find yourself in that kind of environment, you will be able to sit down and think rationally, come up with something or anything that is productive, that can help you to stand up again. So it's just being in an environment which is friendlier, hassle-free. That's what the concept that I used. When everything is organized, when you look around, you see order. It's that same order that can help you to begin to see hope. The other thing that I thought we also need to bring to our discussion is to develop a routine or to have a program. Have you realized that most of us, when we are crushed, most of us, when we are stressed, we do not have energy to do anything. We do not even have energy to wake up, let alone to work, let alone to exercise, let alone to cook, let alone to do anything useful. Developing a program or a routine and stick to that program or to that routine can be very helpful, can be something that you need to help you to begin to stand. Having a routine and sticking by it just it's medicinal in a way, because the program will say 6 o'clock, for instance, you wake up, 7 o'clock you have breakfast, after which you are going to go to your gym for exercises, for this, for that. And by sticking to this, you help yourself to begin to regain yourself, because you are losing yourself. So you need to stand up. The other thing that you also need to do as a tip, to help you to be resilient, is to take care of yourself. Most of us, when we are down and out, what we often do is even to neglect ourselves. We don't take care of ourselves physically, mentally, and spiritually. You eat, you don't exercise, you don't want to talk to anybody. Sometimes even our spiritual life goes down. You don't pray, you don't read the word, and this is totally neglecting yourself. This is totally not taking care of yourself. You are not taking care of your body, soul, and mind. And at the end of the day, whatever situation that you are confronted with will just weigh you down, because obviously you are down, so you will just stay there. Maybe before I go to the next one, there's this the one thing that we can learn from the reeds that grow by the river. The interesting part about the reeds that grows by the river is that when the waters are harsh, when the winds are blowing, the reeds, they don't remain standing. They allow the waters to pull them, to make them to slip, push them to whatever direction the wind pushes them. But guess what? After the winds, after the high waters, you find the reed standing. Why? They are resilient. They have strong roots. Their roots are so deep that even when they are confronted with, harsh winds, strong winds, they are able to stand. And basically, these tips that I'm giving today, it's about us finding ourselves into situations that threaten to crush us, that threatens to flatten us. But resilience says, after all these troubles, all these stresses, we are able to stand and be able to be functional again. And these tips are purposed to help us to do that. And these are the tips that all of us, myself in particular, I have used most of this because I found them to be very, very helpful. Maybe another tip that I should be able to share is be able to express yourself. Quite often, when people are down, when people are crushed, flattened, down on the ground, one thing that they do not do is be able to express themselves, be able to talk to other people, be able to explain themselves, to explain the situations that they find themselves in. Sometimes you think that people know, people understand, and people will come to your rescue. People would come, donate this, do that, because you are in this situation. People do not know what is it that you lack. People do not know, to what extent, are you in trouble. But, if you are able to express yourself, to able to say, what, things are bad. Things I have lost, anything, everything, nothing is working. Be able to express yourself. People know where you are. People know what's going on around you. They're able to come in and be able to offer some kind of, assistance and a helping hand. Still on that, this one is highly recommended. That when you are down, when you are crushed, when you do not feel you do not have energy to do anything, more particularly to do anything for yourself. But guess what? You are encouraged. When you are able to help yourself, do anything to help yourself. The solution is, in that state, cease to concentrate on yourself. Help somebody. Reach out to somebody. And you're thinking, how realistic is this? How possible is this? That I'm unable to do anything to help myself, but I should be able to help the next person. Yes. When you can't do anything to help yourself, do something to help somebody else. It is in doing something to help somebody else that, indirectly you are helping yourself. Help somebody else, it's easy. The people around you, that one is struggling, that one is this one is that. You go in there, you offer to do the simple things. The next person doesn't have food. You are down and out, but but food you have. By taking food that you have, food that you cannot eat because you do not even have appetite, you have lost any appetite for food, you can't do anything. So you take the food that you have, instead of letting the food to rot, you just take the food and going and giving to someone else. You see, in your helplessness, in your hopelessness, you are still able to offer and extend a helping hand to somebody. When everything around you seems not to be working, when everything around you seems to be falling apart, the next tip would be, don't lose focus. Don't focus into so many things. Don't focus on your in your relationship. Do not focus on the debts around you. Don't focus in try on and focus on something that you have control over. What could be that? For instance, when everything is falling apart, this one thing that you may not allow to fall apart, that is yourself. You may not be able to control what's happening in your business. You may not be able to focus on what's happening around you, but you may be able to focus on yourself. Focus on your health. Focus on being able to, to bath, to do small tasks. Because everything else is centered around you. If you are able to succeed in terms of standing up, be able to take care of yourself physically, health-wise, bouncing back become possible because you are still standing. But if you do not, you allow whatever situation to overwhelm you, to crush you down, everything else that you worried about will not be able to be resurrected. So this tip, the last one, to say, focus on yourself, focus on getting better, focus not on what's around you, focus on your first, and once you succeed there, then you can focus on everything around you. And with this family, with these tips, I think, most of us should be able to stand in situations that are difficult. And let me take this time to thank you viewers, to thank you, members of our church, members of our community, and, for listening to us. And till next time.